Hello. Hello. Hi, everybody. We're going to be starting in just a few minutes. So everybody that's online, if you're out there, just a couple more minutes and we'll get started, okay?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Krisztina. This is Chandler. I'm going to do a bit more introduction later on. I just wanted to ask you a few questions as we are waiting for hopefully a bit more people to come. And before I ask you questions, I'm just going to tell you what is ahead of us today. Is everybody following me in English? Yeah, excellent. So what we're going to do first, we're going to have, I think it's Leo who's going to open us up. Am I right? Yes. Excellent. Then Chandler will speak a little bit about the female funder situation in health tech. Then we're gonna have somebody joining us online. She's a motivational speaker, so she's gonna talk to women and hopefully fire us up. And then we're gonna have a workshop with myself and Chandler on innovating for women, to have more women in healthcare as funders. So we're gonna do a little bit of exercise on that. How does it sound so far? Yeah? Okay, so my questions to you is, please raise your hand if you are a female funder. Have you started a business before? Okay. Okay. So I know we are a few in the room at the moment. I don't know if we have people online. Is there anyone who is a female funder?
If you're online, throw it in the chat. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, so please do send us your responses. So we have about 5 of us ladies here, and we have about 5 of the gentlemen here. So
It looks like we have some more.
oh, we have more people joining. That's amazing. Hello and welcome.
Come on
Yeah, we haven't
in.
started
We're not
yet.
started.
Don't worry. We are just warming up. Yes. Oh, good to see you again. Hello. Welcome. Please, can I also ask, because it's going to be a small group, so if everybody could just sit in the front, would that be okay?
Come on, scoot up, guys. We got
Yeah,
there's stuff on the
close.
chairs, but there's stuff on the chairs for a reason.
Yeah. Oh, okay, no worries. We'll warm you up.
We'll come to you in a second.
Yes, so thank you so much for coming, all of you. And as I was asking in the room, now we doubled the ladies in the room, so that's great. Can I please ask again, online as well, how many of you ladies started a business? Just raise your hand. Yeah, or you are a co-founder. Yeah, so we have 5 with me. Have you started a business? No. Okay. Okay. So about half. So that's a really good percentage in the room. But that's not what happens in the world, isn't it?
I have a question. Of those who haven't, how many of you are thinking of starting a business or want to? Okay. So
excellent.
Everybody here is on the path or is already on the path to being a founder, a funder, maybe, who knows?
Yes.
So great to see that.
Okay, I'm just going to come to you guys and ask a few questions from those who started a business first. I know you, so I'm going to ask you first. Was there anything that made it difficult for you to start a business as a woman, specifically?
Wow, that's a hard question. I'm not a mother. Maybe my friends could add more about that, but maybe the lack of examples of females that did that and were successful and managed to start a family and also have a business, and with all the uncertainties that we need to go through.
Wow, excellent point. Excellent point. Maybe I can ask the other ladies as well who started businesses. Same question. What made it difficult for you, if there was anything?
Well, I think the most difficult that we are facing this time is to find, well, but I think it's a problem that both male and females can face. It's the this the availability of resources, that here in Brazil it's a little bit strict. So, but well, I think it's a tricky question. But we didn't face this difference. I don't know. I think it's for both.
It's genuinely difficult to get money. We understand that, but global statistics says that there are about 4.5% of women who started businesses. Yes, it's very tiny. Yes, on a global scale, and out of that, about 2% gets funded. Yeah, is really bad. Is really bad. Yeah. So there is difficulties that is in front of just because we are women. There are extra, glass ceiling that you need to break through. It's not visible, but it's there. Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
I just want to add to this discussion that also a tricky point is when we are fundraising, we are mostly in a man space. So also there is a difficulty in be heard sometimes by those groups.
Yes, that's such a good point.
Yeah. I just want to add a point to your talk, that I know a group, startup, led by a female, that would always go to fundraising meetings with a man.
Wow, I hear you, and I know the experience. I understand it. Okay, let's keep discovering. So thank you so much for sharing. You guys are amazing. I just want to ask on this side as well. You were the one founder, yeah. So have you experienced any difficulties in just starting a business as a woman?
I agree with them. It's really hard when we think about how much time you have, because I had to ask my husband to be here, and he works, and he said, when I asked him, he said, no, I can't. And I said, no, you have to, because we have kids and you have to go get them at school, and I can't be here. So that's one. And I agree when they say it's hard. I'm a physiotherapist, so it's really different that when you go to a meeting, when you work with health, people need to hear you and they want to hear you. So everything you say, it's okay, and they listen. They sit down and listen. And what I feel in this business is that we don't have that much power in our voices. That's what I feel. So when you talk, they want to talk. They know more.
And Krisztina,
I don't know if it's real. I'm sorry, but
no, it's absolutely true. And I think
It's
even
100%
though
real.
for the other two ladies here who have thought about starting businesses, I just wonder, is there a reason, is there a struggle as to why you haven't yet? Or is there, I think one of the things that amazes me about the Brazilian ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem, compared to the US ecosystem, I come to, like, my translator last time I was here had 2 masters and a PhD, right? And the level of competition and being able to get to the places where money flows, or to get to even a place where you find somebody who knows how to fill out the application to get the funding.
Yes.
And understand how that process works. So I just wonder, from the other 2 ladies here, like, what has your experience been so far? And are there other barriers that you might see that are keeping women from entering entrepreneurship?
In fact, in my case, I was an employee. I was an executive until last year. So now I'm trying to find other ways to to be part of the environment. And I just opened a picture that last week I was here with investors, because I'm an advisor of one of startups here, and I was the only one woman in the room. Yes, but I feel comfortable because when you know the subject, when you know what should be done, I believe we can talk in the same level. I don't feel like, yes.
So I think in my case, I was never facing someone as a reference, and I never thought I could be an entrepreneur. I was always in academia for several years, and then I decided to turn into doing science in the industry. And then I consider being an entrepreneur and start this facing the reality of this discrimination in between women and men that happens also in academia and industry and in other fields. So I want to open a business, but for now I'm trying to pick with who I'm gonna do it, because I think it's a key point.
It's an important decision. And it's interesting because I think, especially, just on that point before we move on here, I think, one of the reasons why Krisztina and I started our incubator, our work, was because we recognized the challenges that founders face when they are starting up. And so I think for us, we recognize, like, I was kind of the anti-tech star, like accelerator, because I recognized that 5% of the company plus some rights later and not very much cash isn't really a valuable investment for people. Okay. And it's a really big concern to think about, will I at some point be removed from being my own, like, CEO? Right. And so I think we can get more into this later, but I think this idea of, like, where do I build and who do I build with is a really important question that maybe is just as, I mean, it's just as important to women as other founders, but I think it's felt more because there's, the trust, the amount of, sacrifices that we make in our lives to be able to do that work, then can come back and really affect the decisions and, like, the future of our companies. And we have to really be aware of that from the beginning. So great comment.
Yes. So we already heard from some of you ladies in the room that there are certain challenges that you face. We're gonna deep dive into during the workshop. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to just ask Leo to come and open us, because obviously, thank you so much for InovaHC for providing us the space, inviting you ladies. We are really happy to see you. It's honestly an honor to meet with you, and we know and we hope by the end of today you will not just get motivated, but you will also have some ideas, a clarity on ideas that can help us as women. So if ever you will be asked what you need, you will have like a clear, this is what I need. Yeah.
So I will use my mother language. Okay. Obrigado a todo mundo por estar aqui hoje. Acho que para nós é mais um incentivo de estar no Hub, tendo alguns parceiros estratégicos vindos de outros lugares do mundo, alguns fundos que têm a possibilidade de aportar em algumas soluções com impacto social, né? Eu achei engraçado que a Shirley não se colocou como uma founder, mas é mãe de uma founder. Então, acho que she's a mother of a founder. She has a little daughter that has a company, and it's very amazing. Then, yeah, not so little, but yeah, it's a 12 anos? Ela tem 12 anos? 17 years. So she's a co-founder, but yeah. Then... Então, acho que é muito importante para nós hoje ter a 360 como um parceiro. E, enfim, o evento é de vocês. Sintam-se à vontade. E se vocês tiverem alguma coisa para questionar ou enfim, aproveitem a possibilidade de captar dinheiro um pouquinho mais barato para nós, no caso, né? Enfim, é isso, gente. Bem-vindos.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I just want to introduce my co-founder, Chandler. So we've been working together for a long time. Our journey goes back to 2017 when I was a volunteer. I spent a lot of time in West Africa in the time being. I was volunteering there, and then I found an opportunity in Seattle. I never wanted to go to the US, but I applied, and Chandler just saw something in me and got me to Seattle, and then we started working together. I was volunteering for him, and then I went back to Africa, started a business incubator. He was constantly supporting me year after year, and then he started his business incubator. So now, last year, he called me and said, listen, I had enough. I had enough of our funders coming to me and saying that these are the challenges, because both of us, we work with people who are underestimated. It's a certain group of people, you know, women, immigrants, people of color, LGBTQ, you can name it. And he was like, neurodivergent, exactly. And he was like, oh, I had enough. Let's start a venture fund. So we are on this journey together. Chandler and myself. He is the director of 360 Social Impact Studios and the co-founder with me in Innovators, where we hope to raise funds to just support people like ourselves. And so, yeah, it's just an honor to work with him. He's always really supportive, and he's here to just tell you a little bit of more information about how he sees the healthcare sector, the health tech sector from his perspective. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Krisztina. You know, it's honestly, it's a little bit wild to like be here with Kriszti after what 2017. Like in my iPad over there, when I I just got a new iPad, and when I installed it and set it up, the first pictures that came up, the very last set of pictures that I had taken was of Krisztina and I in 2017 on our trip, and it just felt very serendipitous to have that appear right as we arrived down here in Brazil. So again, thank you everybody for coming. It's an honor to be here. My name is Chandler Lewis. I'm the managing director at 360 Social Impact Studios and the co-founder of Enough Ventures with Krisztina. And I have some words to say, but I just want to start by saying it's such an honor to be able to be here. I'm going to start with this because everybody's going to ask her. Everybody asks this anyway, like, why Brazil? And so, my journey with Brazil started a couple years ago when I came down for Hospitalar with the Washington State Department of Commerce. And, lots of nothing wrong with these types of people, but there's a lot of Americans that love to go to other countries and stay in hotels and eat in the restaurants and stay like 2 or 3 blocks from where they're living. And I think for us, our vision and our style of how Krisztina and I work, evidenced too by a couple more of our employees that we have here today with us, Stefan and Yuri, that we really do our best to embed ourselves in the communities that we're in. And so we spend a lot of time like Bar de Bacho, if you know where that is, in Pinheiros, in Tokyo, some late nights there. So, getting actually to know people and understand the culture, the community. Stefan, Kriszti, and I take 3 Portuguese lessons a week. So we are really committed to being here. And I think for us, Innova and the community here presents an incredible opportunity for us to combine capital with, the opportunities and the talents that all the founders bring here. And so I think we really see ourselves as a complement to the work that Innova's doing. Unless somebody can tell us that there's too much venture capital, like we don't need it, right? Then I think there's a place for everybody here. And I think the more people that are funding and supporting founders and helping them reach their goals, it creates a healthier ecosystem for everybody. So thank you all. I will just start by saying it's an honor to be here today. We're really here to gather to celebrate and inspire and empower female entrepreneurs. Women just like you, men just like you out there, but really the women who are driving change in Brazil every day. So, my passion for healthcare innovation didn't really start as a career, but it did start on day one with my mother. So, today, much of my work is inspired by my mother. We work together at the University of Washington School of Nursing. She is on a committee with me for the Washington State Board of Nursing. We teach together, and she's also the largest investor in two of our portfolio companies at 360. She's a doctor or a nurse practitioner, a DMP. Um, and for better or worse, like I said, she really is the largest investor of us. So I get to work with her a lot. I guess you could say I have a little bit of separation anxiety since I am an only child. But working with her is really great, and it inspires us to do the work. Inspires us to do the work that we want to do, and it's taught us about, at least taught me, about resilience, about compassion, and the critical importance of caring for others. But I think why we're here and some of them, the values that Krisztina embody and I embody, are also that of servant leadership and the critical skill of patience. I think as founders, we're probably really good at patience, but maybe not. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like things should be moving faster. But throughout my own journey, I've encountered many glass ceilings myself, entering venture capital, founding 360 Social Impact Studios, placed me in rooms where my presence, my voice, and my capabilities were frequently underestimated or excluded. I was also born with both physical and mental disabilities, but most may never even know those exist. So every barrier I've faced has taught me something powerful. Opportunities and skills should always surpass gender expectations, and women belong in spaces of innovation and leadership, especially here in a country like Brazil. Yet, despite this incredible potential, the numbers remind us of ongoing challenges. Today in Brazil, women only lead about 15% of health and biotech startups. And when we look at a city like Sao Paulo, this city, we see far too women stepping into roles that shape the future of health tech. And why is that? Well, because barriers extend beyond professional settings. Across Brazil, countless women navigate exhausting daily realities, but balancing multiple roles: worker, caregiver, mother. Many face the pressures of domestic overload, mental health strain, and stark inequalities at home and at work. These challenges are even more acute for women entering minimum wage or living in underserved communities, the periferias, right here in Sao Paulo. For these women, life hurdles can feel insurmountable, leaving their talent and potential untapped and undervalued. But we also know about some other realities. Domestic violence remains an ongoing concern in Brazil, and far too many women live in silence or fear, constrained by circumstances that diminish their autonomy and strength. So, to genuinely advance equity in health tech, we must also support women's safety, dignity, and empowerment in every aspect of life. But here's the hopeful truth: women in Brazil have always been strong. We see it, we've seen it every day, the ones that are here today. And you all are capable of extraordinary achievement, even in difficult odds. So in 2024, formal employment opportunities for women grew notably, signaling progress. Yet now, men still hold the majority of formal job openings. Clearly, there's work ahead. We need intentional, practical action to close these gaps. Training and mentoring to empower women at every career stage, building skills and confidence. Leadership opportunities, like real programs that proactively open doors and elevate women into senior positions. Equal pay and equitable workplaces, fair salaries, balanced workloads, and meaningful representation in decision making. Greater support for motherhood, Creating workplaces where motherhood is respected and supported, not penalized. So we must and we can and we must try to build an environment of equity, opportunity, and unity, because I firmly believe in our collective future in health tech here in Sao Paulo and beyond. Depends deeply on women stepping confidently into leadership roles, fully equipped to shape healthcare solutions for everyone. So let's pause, recharge here, remind ourselves of the essential truth. You all belong in these rooms. You deserve a seat at the table. And when we lift each other up, there's no ceiling we can't break together. So thank you for sharing this time and space with us today. We're here to learn, we're here to share, and find ways to build us all up together. So we invite you to join us in this collective movement towards a more inclusive future.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you
Thank
so
you all.
much. Okay, so next, I'm just going to ask a few more questions because the person who is coming, thank you, Chandler. Thank you for this speech. And just one thing I want to say about Chandler is that he has an eye. He has an eye for talent, and he looks to places where other people don't. And I think that's important to have that in venture capitals, because they usually look to the same places, if you know what I mean. And it's very hard to get in there, to their attention. Some of you mentioned earlier that being heard, yes, I experienced personally as well, obviously, is a general problem we face all over the world. Another thing Chandler mentioned about we need spaces where the question that, you know, in a certain age as a woman you get, like, how can I trust you with this business if you are pregnant, about to get pregnant, maybe have a child, maybe have a family, is not asked from men, these questions. And sometimes the question is not even asked, is assumed. And that's the worst, because they just assume you are in a certain age, that you're not going to be reliable and putting yourself fully into your business. And that's just sad that that's the case. So the reason why I'm just talking now, 1 second. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to do the workshop and set up. So if Rosalind can help me with the presentation, because the person who will give you more fire, let me put it this way, she's a motivational speaker. She's right now, I think you're going to understand, she's right now on a tour. She's in Tunisia. She has been engaged in an activity and she needs to get back to her hotel before she can join us. So that's about 50 minutes traffic ahead of her, so apologies for the delay. But then she's going to join us by the grace of God. She's going to trust me, I just introduced her to you so you know who we are waiting for. I had the privilege to work with Chandler and work with her as well, both. And this is the first time in my life that I got the chance to bring the two part of me together. So with Chandler, obviously, we are at 360 Social Impact Studio, but with Nia-Cerise Bayonne, I'm working on the Transform Network. What do you need to know about Transform Network? It was established about 2 years ago. She started it herself, and within a year, she grew this movement into, this initiative into a movement. So from 0 to 600 members worldwide. This is a mentoring system to a mentoring group, mentoring network, but also a training academy for women specifically. And why she started this, she was at Cambridge University doing her master's. She is an African background, like a woman from an African background, and she has faced a lot of those glass ceilings that we discussed in the beginning, right? And she was like, oh, there are these men clubs that they support each other to get jobs, to get open spaces for women. And when she started, it was just a couple of us, but suddenly it just grew into 600 people. So I worked with her as well as the head of business department, and it's just an honor to get her into this room. I know it's virtual, she's not going to be here, but you're going to feel her presence. Okay, she has given speeches at Cisco, IBM, God knows, a lot of places, and her heart is for women to be encouraged, to be empowered, and become pioneers as themselves. So if you are here to get motivated, I promise you she's going to do that, if the grace of God will allow us to get her through internet. So yeah, but as we wait, I'm just going to set up the workshop because it's a lot of technical stuff. So what we have for you today is we're going to discuss about the female founder gap in health tech. Yeah, it's a general problem in every industry, but I try to focus on Brazil and the health tech sector. And so what we're going to do, we're going to use an AI tool to kind of lead us through generating from an idea an actual solution. Okay, it's called Neo, and I'm going to show how it works after we have discussions. So we're going to have discussions first on different topics, and then you're going to give me some inputs. I put it into this tool, and it's kind of like a ChatGPT, but for business. Yeah, so we're going to put it in, and it's going to give us a elevator pitch. Yes, in the end, it's going to give us an elevator pitch. It's going to give us an analysis of how strong the idea is, how strong our background. It gives us even like questions to ask when you do your market research, and it does it within like a click. Yeah, so I just want to use this, and we're going to use WhatsApp groups. So can I ask, is everybody, do you guys have WhatsApp groups? And I'm inviting the men as well. I know I'm speaking to women, and online as well. I know I'm speaking to women, but we need your point of view as well. We cannot change the world alone. We need allies. And I'm also very grateful to see men in the house, because that means that you are supporting this cause and you are welcoming these ladies, and you want them to be even more in the rooms. So everybody has WhatsApp? Yeah? Can I please ask, is it possible to zoom into the code? If not a problem, I can come around and get it sorted. For those following online, I don't know if Stefan is there, but we might have, for the online community, we might have a Zoom link so they can work with us online. Can you guys, I don't know. Are you able to, if not, I can, yes, no, of course. To be fair, you can zoom in through via your camera. So if you use your camera and zoom in, yeah, don't worry, Rosin is okay. It's okay. Okay, so if you could join this WhatsApp group, that would be really nice. If it doesn't work, I can just give you, I can see Milena joined and 3 other people. So Andre as well, thank you, Marta, and somebody else as well. So I think almost everybody is in the group. So what we're gonna do is this is gonna be intense. Okay. Yes. Okay. So in the groups, I think I'm gonna have 2 groups. Okay. So I have, and we're gonna mix the gentlemen in as well if they want to contribute to the solution finding. So we're gonna have 2 groups in the room. If people want to work with us online, please feel free to do that maybe on your own and give inputs. Because what's going to happen is that I'm going to have very specific questions, and I'm going to give you 5-10 minutes each round. We're going to have 3 sprints to answer the questions. Now, I will need you, and that's going to be interesting. I will need each group to have 1 person who would kindly open a voice note in the WhatsApp group and record the conversation for me. It can be in Portuguese, that's completely fine. I know, but I want the group conversations recorded. So when you do your group conversation, I need each group to have 1 person who will just go into the WhatsApp group and just start a voice note and record just just hold the phone when you speak and that's it. Yeah, is that okay for everyone? I will tell you why. I'm doing a research. That's why. So if you could help me with that, I would really appreciate. I just want to understand the depth of the conversations around the topic. Okay. And I will need one other person who will type in this chat the inputs that you guys agreed as the answer for the questions. Is that clear for everyone? Yeah? So we're going to mix the gentlemen into the groups as well, if that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have one, I guess, whoever come up and can
Yeah.
take these groups up here.
Would you mind joining this group, please, sir? And then, yeah, okay, you could join this group. And then you could join this group, sorry, sir, if you could join. You guys can talk in Portuguese in your own groups, okay? So that's completely fine, right? So I'm just setting up the room, yeah, and I'm monitoring at the same time if the person is ready to, 1 second. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, all right. What was I saying? Okay, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, sorry, I don't have my clicker with me. Apologies, technology is not my best friend sometimes, Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with a common point. So all of us gonna focus on the same problem. Okay, the problem is that how can we increase the number of female funders in health tech in Brazil to about 40%? Okay, because it's currently 15%.
15%.
So from 15, we want to go to 40. Okay, that's just something I had in mind. I hope you guys agree with it as well. Okay, and then we already discussed the systematic challenges, the limited access to capital. You guys all mentioned some sort of variation of these problems, right? Exclusion from networks, low visibility, emotional burnout, mental challenges, lack of tailored support that fits women. Yeah, because we need to be honest with ourselves. Being a man, being a woman is different, no matter how you look at it. So I'm going to give you a copy of this. It's printed in both English and Portuguese. So Portuguese and English. And then just give one to each group. Stefan, if you are able to get the Zoom link onto the YouTube chat, the people can join and you can go out to another room. So my colleague, the people online, my colleague will join on the YouTube. He's gonna send you a Zoom link, and then you can do this experience with him. He's gonna send you the same documents that we are sharing in the room, so you can join in as well. Okay. The field of application, we call field of application in this tool that I showed you, that talks about kind of like the socio-economic area where the solution will be implemented. Okay, so it's like kind of like a market, but not really. Okay, so it's the female early stage startup funders in Brazil's healthcare sector. So it's already given to you. Now I'm going to talk about the available means as well. So we have certain things at our hand as a group. So when you're coming up with solution, you can utilize these tools. It's very important when you start a business to know what you have at hand. Human resource, physical resources, access to funding, money, how much you already have in your hand to invest in your business, right? So I give you this for this project that we are working on. So one of the things we have is innovation strategy experience. Okay, so that's in our hand to solve the problem. How can we increase the number of female funders? Does it make sense for everyone? Okay. If I go too slow, please let me know. Okay. I'm too fast. Okay. No, it's good. Everybody's happy. Okay, perfect. Access to 50 funder insights. So this is why I'm recording your conversations, because we're going to replicate this, right? We want to bring a solution as well. You understand? So this workshop is for my benefit as well. and hopefully will give you as well. But we need to understand what's the main core of the problem. And then we have funders. I think I typed it, but yeah, gender equity aligned funders in our portfolio as well, so we can even get more insights. We have testbed spaces, hybrid event platforms, and we have funder first pre-seed fund currently being raised. So you understand, I'm trying to do a market research basically. Is that okay? Right. Can we click one more, please, Rosin? I keep forgetting the clicker. Yeah, perfect. So let me just check in with the person. Okay, so she's actually going to join. I'm so sorry for the delay. I think, Rosen, is she there? Nia-Cerise?
Is Esther there?
Not Esther, Nia-Cerise. The streamline. Is the person there? No. A person, extra person, no? There is no one joined yet. Can somebody translate me to Portuguese, please, quickly?
No, she's ready. She says she's ready.
Okay, she's joining. Can somebody translate this, please?
I don't know if she's joining.
She's ready. That means she's joining. She knows the link.
Okay.
She knows everything.
Okay.
Okay, nobody is joined yet. Okay, so give her a little bit more time. Yeah, just settle in.
She didn't say she's joining.
Ask if she's joining.
I did. I said join.
Okay. All right. So she has the link. Can you tell me if she's logged in? Can you ask her to tell me if she's logged in? Okay.
She's in.
She's in?
There she is.
Okay, so oh, hello.
Good.
Can we hear her,
afternoon.
please? Good afternoon, Esther. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Christy. Good afternoon, all. How are
Look in
we?
the wrong direction. Hello. Okay, so this is
Amazing.
Esther. Will we be able to have Nia-Cerise on the line, please?
Yes, Nia-Cerise should be joining shortly.
Okay.
My name is Esther. I am the Chief Operations Officer of the Transform Network, where we are really excited and burdened for women to really be catapulted, to be pushed and to excel in different areas of society, including government, including health as well, including business and family, just to name a few. And we are really burdened by the work we do to actually train women to understand who they are in society and to understand they are not just at the background, but they are also people who can take up a position and actually be leaders and actually be people who have a prominent say in what is occurring in society as well. And I'm very excited to have Nia-Cerise Bayonne to join very shortly as well. It is a mission upon Nia-Cerise Bayonne, who started the Transform Network. And I think Christy may have already touched on this, but we are excited to just share a bit more about this as well. Thank you so much, all. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if anyone is responding back to me. And if you can still hear me all.
Technology. Can you hear me, Esther?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so thank you so much for the introduction. We are really anticipating her joining us today. I did say a few words about Transform and herself as well. But if you want to add a bit more information, feel free to do so. Can you estimate about when can she join us, please?
She has just returned back to the place where she is staying at, and so she shall be joining very soon.
Okay, do you want to talk to the ladies in the meantime?
Yes, for sure. I would love to receive any questions or any insights anybody would like to receive.
Yes, so we discussed in the beginning the systematic challenges of being a woman in spaces where there is a male dominance. I know yourself works in government in the UK. I don't know if you want to say a few words about that or you want to ask a few questions from the ladies here, but feel free.
Yes, absolutely. That is very true. I think at times it can sometimes be intimidating, but at the Transform Network, we also want to push women to believe and understand that they hold value and that their voice actually matters, despite occurrences where women may feel intimidated or that they are in the background. We want to push and encourage women to actually stand their ground, to know who they are, and actually be the leaders who they are called to be in the respected areas of society that they are in. So I think that's really key and important to actually hold on to. The understanding of who you are, and this will then impact and influence the language that you use, the way that you speak, and the way that you view yourself. And that is something that we really hold true to others and train others in the Transform Network as well.
Yes, that's very true. The language we use and the way we carry ourselves speaks before us, isn't it? Before we start speaking, it already tells the story. How we look, how we speak, how we hold ourselves. So people in the room, I'm just waiting 2 more minutes. Probably she's going to be settled in. You understand how she's going on a tour. She's doing some other activities. She's in Tunisia right now. The other side of the world, and I'm just hoping technology will be on our side today. So I'm sorry about the delay, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. She's incredible.
Yeah, and I think maybe while we wait, I can just ask as I think as we've come to realize the challenges, the successes, the strengths that we find here are not the same as other places like the US, like Europe. Christy's from the UK. And so I think, what are some of the unique, when we think about the things that the community here, the female founders, the network that you all share here in Brazil, what is something that can't be replicated anywhere else? Cannot. What is it? Is there something here that you think in Brazil can't be replicated?
And it works elsewhere?
Yeah, but like that, when we say, because, all the time we have founders, we have investors, they ask us, why Brazil? And I say, you just aren't going to find anything better. Like the founders here are incredible, right? Passion. We feel that. Say more about that. What is it?
Do you want to expand on? Because you said
it
passion.
Is a cultural I mean, we feel it.
We feel it. We feel the difference in Brazil. Obviously, there is a cultural difference between. I'm Hungarian originally. Is a very different culture over there, and there is a uniqueness. I spent a lot of time across West Africa, and I see women, with their babies on their back, on the street working, selling food, doing their own businesses, upholding an entire household. And when I look at them, I'm like, wow, I would never be able to do this. So what are those things that you would say that, okay, as a Brazilian woman, these are the things that really make us unique?
Yes, I believe we like to do, we like to be part of. So as I used to work to companies, when I saw my other colleagues, they work less than Brazilian, less time, I believe.
No.
Multitask.
Multitask.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Octopus. you know.
Yeah.
We're dealing with family and house and work and everything at the same time. So we were raised like that.
I love it.
Amazing. Esther, any update?
Yes, she is just joining in about 2 minutes. So very
Perfect.
excited for
Good. So
everyone to.
we'll keep going, because I think that, I know we're 2 minutes out, so but I want to know a little bit more, because for us as investors, as as a organization that's deeply committed to removing barriers, I think for us, what does a more perfect future look like? Like, what is success? If we're successful here, besides just the numbers, what is it that is going to be the North Star for this work that we have here? And I really look at it as like, you all are helping set our vision for what our work is going to be here, because
Yeah.
without you, we don't have work here. So what are the things that you want us to focus on helping you with, beyond just the means we have available? And after that, it looks like we have Nia. So we'll do this, and then we will get started.
Yes, just one second.
Maybe not just focusing on women founders, but women health, because we have been many years doing studies only with men for drugs and therapies. So I guess that now we are focusing on menopause. We're focusing on things that happens with women that were not studied before. So yeah, we need to study the other half of the planet. So I guess that we need to found also companies that are focusing on women's health.
Thank you so much. And it's true. I mean, Krisztina and I just got back from Daza's laboratory up in Rio, the Puki. And one of the researchers there has created the first model of a female pelvic structure that actually
Yes.
moves.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Are you able to hear us? Because it seems like yes,
I'm
but
connected now. I can hear you now. I'm not sure if you can hear me. You
We
disappeared.
can. No, we could hear you.
Wonderful. I couldn't see you before, but I can see you now. I'm not sure if we're all good.
We're in the room. You just can't see us yet.
just her. Just her.
But she won't be able to. If she won't be able to see it, Krisztina, if it's just her, then she can't see the people in the room. No, but she said she wanted to see it. So it's okay. We'll keep.
Or
Okay.
maybe you can just take pictures of them so I know that they're there.
We are trying to turn. Okay, we can turn the camera. Ladies, would you mind just say hi to her, please? Just if you can come on the stage, don't be afraid. Just say hi. The camera is right there, just above the Yuris. Yeah, is moving around now.
Okay.
So just say hello, so you know who you talk to. Yeah. So we have women who are funders. Can you raise your hand if you have funded a business? Yeah. So we have 4 of them, and then 2 of them haven't funded a business yet. So, but they want, and they worked in corporate. So thank you. Yeah, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are we passing on the baton to me now? Is it my time to share with the ladies?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all of you. I am honestly so honored and really privileged to just be sharing with you all and to be here today to be able to really dive into the concept of pioneering and innovating, especially in challenging spaces and places. And actually, for myself, I hope you can still hear me because I can't see you. I wanted to really, really share on this topic today because it's not something that I can say is simply a description. This is an active lived experience that myself as a founder, an entrepreneur, an innovator, a visionary, a woman who has been called into places and spaces where she's not necessarily invited. I have learned that if there is no table that is going to be offered or given, I will build it. And this is where I say today to those of you who are listening to my voice, my words, where there is no seat, it is the opportunity of a lifetime for us to be able to build one. I'd say that the role of a pioneer can sometimes be extremely scary, but I think the role of a pioneer offers a level of privilege that I'm very grateful for. Because even though there is very, very difficult and challenging obstacles along the way for a pioneer as you're breaking ground and you're going forward and you feel as though no one can hear you and you're pushing and pushing and pushing. What pioneers, visionaries, founders don't necessarily always understand is that you are doing what has not been done before. You are essentially making way for the people who need to come up behind you. And so the role of a pioneer and a visionary and one who innovates may be difficult, but it is a distinguished role that actively allows, especially for difficult situations, to now invite not only myself and yourself, but others to the table where nobody wanted them to sit. My name is Nia-Cerise Bayonne, and I'm the founder of the Transform Network. Now, the Transform Network in itself was founded by me. However, one of the things I often share with people was that it was actually founded in a moment and a time of recovering from pain, recovering from difficulty, recovering from situations that were truly out of my hands. So a little bit of background before I jump into my message for today. I am a Cambridge University graduate. I got my master's from Cambridge University. And although this may sound like a fantastic accomplishment, this was actually the fight of my life. I almost didn't graduate from this university because although Cambridge premised itself on being an inviting atmosphere, a multicultural university, a site for international students, and a place whereby everybody was welcome and all were invited, I very quickly realized that although I was enrolled in the university, I was not part of their system. And so what I quickly saw was that there wasn't necessarily a space for me to sit. Multiple experiences that I had, number one, entering the university and finding out that there were certain privileges other students were able to have that I didn't have. First example, a matriculation, which is a welcome dinner. I was told that unfortunately I would not be able to join the first cohort. However, those who actively came and asked if they could join after me somehow were invited to come and be part of the first matriculation. When I went to leaders and those in higher levels of authority, they told me they did not understand why this happened. And I quickly realized there were a lot of questions that I had in terms of my treatment that couldn't really be answered properly, except for we don't know why this happened and we don't know why you're being treated differently. Whilst I was at Cambridge University, I remember I was walking whilst being a Black woman. And on one occasion, I was physically assaulted and punched in the stomach whilst existing. The funny thing is, most people ask a question such as, well, what did you do? Were you in somebody's way? Were you causing an issue? Were you causing a problem? And the reality is, women and Black women, women of disability, women with all sorts of different types of layers of oppression and layers of their own sorts of difficulties are often the ones who are placed in a box of what did you do? Where survivors are seen as the perpetrators and the catalyst for what is not in their control. And so what I found was I was explaining why I was being excluded or trying to explain to people why I was being punched in the stomach. And I was trying to explain and show people that I was a victim in this situation, that there was nothing that I had actively done to provoke, but I was actually somebody who was preyed upon. And so I saw time after time in this university how I was a subject of violence, a subject of prejudice, a subject of discrimination. And I was constantly trying to look for language to help people understand how I was feeling or why this was happening. Now, when I went to go and look for help, what I quickly discovered was that a top university in the world was not a top university of support. There were no counselors who looked like me. There was not one Black female lecturer at the university, and there was not one Black female counselor who could understand my lived experience as a Black woman in an institution that did not necessarily welcome or invite people like me into the space. This story is crazy. Even as I'm sharing it, I'm thinking to myself, goodness me, do they even believe what I'm saying? And these are the things, the obstacles that women have to face every single day. Microaggressions that we currently experience on a daily basis, just like you were explaining. Why is it that our syllabuses, why is it that our study topics, why is it that what we're doing never includes women, never includes topics of women, never really invites the women's issues into the space? And so for me, I began the fight of my life. I had multiple instances where I was verbally assaulted. And when I said that I was going to report this individual for how they spoke to me, they were a staff member at the university. I was told that because they were a staff member, nobody would listen to my voice. This is what led me on to actually formulate a dissertation topic, which was on the silencing experiences of Black women in institutions that are predominantly Caucasian and don't necessarily invite women, Black women, and people with whatever they are facing into these sites and spaces. I remember wanting to speak up. And when I went to women, when I spoke to others, I realized that just because you're around women and just because you're around people who look like you doesn't necessarily mean that they are allies with you. So now I wasn't just fighting a system. I was also fighting a mentality. I thought to myself, well, of course, if I go to people who look like me and are experiencing the same things, they're going to encourage me to speak up. But what I quickly realized was that the people who look like me were actually telling me, listen, just keep your head down. You don't want them to, say that you're rustling feathers. You need to keep quiet. You need to carry on. But I realized very soon that if I continued to conform to the status quo, it would never, ever change. And ladies, this is what I'm trying to tell you today. If we want to see change, we have to understand, indeed, we're going to have to pioneer it. Is it exhausting? Yes. Will there have to be real deep levels of motivation? And sometimes, will there even have to be a level of grit that you have had to dig deep in and you didn't know that you carried? Absolutely. I had to harness strength on the inside of me in ways that I had never harnessed strength before. And for those of you who may or may not be women of faith, I had to cling to my faith to help me to be able to innovate, to be able to speak up, to be able to be the change that I actively wanted to see. And so today, I want to share with anybody who's listening to me that the future belongs to those who dare to step where others fear to tread. Let me say that again. The future belongs to those who dare to step where others refuse to tread. History and the oppression that women have faced through industries, through voting rights, through inclusion, and even women who had to fight to be able to have a bank account began with a woman who dared to step where others refused to go. And so through resilience, through courage, we have the ability to redefine the future and redefine our current. Women have always been innovators. And this is why I say, listen, I'm not waiting for you to acknowledge that I'm a pioneer. I already understand that I am. And this is how we need to see ourselves in these spaces and in these places. Because oftentimes, when you're in these spaces, nobody sees you as a pioneer. My friends, they see you as a nag. My friends, they see you sometimes as a bit of a rebel. And sometimes they may just see you as plain annoying. But when you are facing institutional obstacles, I want you to understand, if you scan through history and see all of the women who have actively contributed and passed on the baton of empowerment to allow us to stand and be where we are today, this is what empowers me to not actively give up. I believe women can thrive despite challenges. And I believe that that is the role of a woman who decides to innovate and pioneer. When we pioneer, we must understand challenges. There is no individual who wins a war without understanding their opposition. Systemic barriers need to be confronted and they need to be identified. And once we are able to identify these things, then we can begin to confront them with what we know we can contribute to the fight. So firstly, we must acknowledge that there is a gender bias, and we need to start understanding that there is the D word, discrimination. Women are often overlooked and undervalued in leadership roles, in curriculums, in scholarship and academia. On top of that, we also need to acknowledge the systemic barriers of cultural expectations. Traditional roles often restrict access and opportunities in many sectors, STEM, business, politics, and there is often a lack of representation in these industries where women are significantly underrepresented in leadership positions, especially in high impact sectors such as tech, engineering, and also, surprisingly, the arts. In order for us to be able to push forward, we must understand that, yes, there is a limitation in visibility, but as we speak up, we're breaking it. There are also psychological barriers. Now, this one to confront is actually really important because a lot of people like to work with evidence. They like to work with numbers. They like to work with different types of graphs and, the logic of the statistics that we can present. However, it's also very important that we also confront the invisible barriers that the women are facing. And the invisible barriers speak to the psychological barriers that women oftentimes have to go through. And what this looks like is the things that we can't necessarily physically, empirical data, we can't necessarily present it in a physical form because it's more so an internal struggle that is very hard to measure. This includes things such as imposter syndrome, whereby women sometimes feel like they're frauds. Despite achieving success, despite having incredible grades, despite having the wisdom, the knowledge, the right credentials, the feeling of feeling as though you are a fraud or somehow an imposter in a space because you do not look like the people who are in that space. Another obstacle can look like perfectionism. And this is another invisible barrier that is not actually spoken about. Due to the fact women oftentimes carry the burden and the belief that they have to do more and be better and work twice as hard as their male counterparts to gain recognition. Why am I talking about this? Well, essentially, what I'm doing is I'm giving a soundboard to what we often face and don't necessarily talk about. I'm speaking to the microaggressions, i.e., the small, nitpicky experiences that we have on a daily basis that sometimes people will say it's not that big of a deal, brush it off. However, over time, the substantive amalgamation of all of these little pricks cause women to fall into discouragement, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and different types of confidence issues that they are carrying into the workplace. I say this today because these are the barriers that we are going to face, visible and invisible. But next comes the building of resilience and the embracing of innovation. And I realized in my own life, girl, I had to build a growth mindset. I had to stand with allies. I actually built the Transform Network because I realized that there were many communities supporting types of prejudice, discrimination, discouragement, exclusivity, and all types. Old boys groups that I saw in the University of Cambridge that I was in, very much inviting the private school educated Caucasian cis male into the arena and space, and everyone else kind of tiptoeing around. And I actually founded the Transform Network because I realized where was my space? Where was the space for the Black woman? Where was the space for the woman in general? Where was the space for them to receive encouragement and realize that they can break the glass ceiling? I created the Transform Network because I realized if I'm going to get to where I want to be and I'm going to help women get to where they need to be, it's not just a motivational talk that I need to give them. I need to give them a community of ongoing mentorship and support to break down these barriers and push women to become innovators, pushing women to become resilient. This is what helped me to cultivate a growth mindset that taught me no is not no. No is an answer, but it's actively a way in which I can adapt to get to where I need to be, whether people like it or not. A growth mindset tells me that any obstacle that I have faced or any barrier that comes before me is simply a door. And there are many others that I can go through to get exactly the results that I want. This growth mindset was necessary for innovation because those who do not have a growth mindset will often find that a challenge will speak to you and tell you that it's your end rather than simply one direction that you're maybe not able to go through. A growth mindset was mandatory for my innovation journey. A growth mindset was necessary for me as a pioneer. And the next thing was I had to begin to embrace failure. Yes, you will fail. But I want you to understand that many entrepreneurs will teach you that failure is not the end. In fact, failure is just an option once again. Failure is a door that simply is saying not now. It's not saying not ever. Failure is my greatest teacher. And today I want to encourage you to understand, let it be yours as well. As a pioneer and innovator, I realized that failure doesn't speak to my inadequacy, and it does not speak to my confidence, my quality, or even my value. Failure is a teacher that speaks and teaches me to do 10 times better. And when I realized that failure was a teacher and a lesson rather than a conclusion about who I was, I realized that I was able to do greater than I could have ever imagined. Failure was no longer something that defeated me. Now failure was a stepping stone that was helping me to succeed. So now when I see something that I fail at, whether it be Transform Network, other ventures, entrepreneurship, connections, I realize that as an innovator, I am no longer afraid of failure. You are my teacher, and you teach me how to be 10 times better in my arena, in my relationships, in my innovations, in my operations, in my teams, in my leadership, in whatever I do. I understand failure. You are no longer my foe. Failure, you are my friend that teaches me life's lessons that sometimes my friends don't even want to teach me. A friend will give you encouragement. Failure teaches you where to improve. And so I began to continue to innovate and cultivate this on the inside of me by not only embracing failure, not only standing in a growth mindset, but also nurturing my unique perspective. Ladies, it is only one you that is on this earth. And I want to teach you today, if you may allow me to do so. As a founder, as an innovator, your unique perspective is indeed the only one that exists on this earth. There is no one who is you, who has the same fingerprint as you. And although they may have the same idea as you, they do not have the same flair as you. And though many people may have mentoring networks, many people may have different things that look similar to Transform, I know my unique perspective. And me knowing that makes me understand there is no way that I'm stopping in this work, because I believe that I'm called to it. I believe I'm meant to do it. There's nothing that can push me out of it, because although other people may be doing something similar to it, I have my unique perspective, which gives me my unique contribution. I want to tell you today that your contribution is necessary all the way. Your contribution is so necessary. When you open up your mouth, your contribution and your perspective is what enriches and adds value to rooms, to environments, to workplaces, and to what you do. So me as an individual, leverage that. I leverage it all the way. I can bring my different life experiences, because there's nobody who has gone through the same experience of being punched in the stomach by a stranger at Cambridge University. I can bring invaluable perspective, because people have not seen life in the way that I have seen it. I am able to find solutions to old problems, because I carry a diverse viewpoint that nobody else has. And because of this, embracing my uniqueness as a woman, as a Black woman, and not only that, as a woman of faith, this all contributes to my unique viewpoint and how I can essentially shake and dare to be different. So as I bring this speech, this talk, this time to an end, I want to end with solutions, because it's great to bring transformational, motivational talk in. But I also feel like it's necessary for us as women to understand that we also need to bring strategy, and we need to bring innovation even through our ideas, contributions, and solutions. How can we actively see a change? Well, as I began already, number one, mentorship and alliances. When I used to go to mentoring events, all I would care about was connecting with the speaker, not realizing that perhaps my next business partner was sitting right there with me in the room. I don't know any of you very well just yet. Hopefully I'll come to Brazil one day. But one thing I can say is, you as women in that room right now are allies together. You cannot afford to come into a room as strangers and leave as strangers as well. You have to build allies in your field. If there are people in that room right now, you better talk to them, and not just Krisztina. You better talk to all of the women who are in that place so you can work together as allies, support systems. You can actively walk together, and you can be with people who understand the journey and will encourage you in the face of professional challenges. Solidarity and collaboration is necessary. Connect on LinkedIn. Begin to talk. Maybe build up accountability, checking in each week with one another. How are you doing in your field? What are you going through? How can we support one another? The next point is visibility and advocacy. Can I just tell you something right now? There was a woman who I heard the other day. She is an entrepreneur. She said something on the lines of this. She said to people, she said, everyone, listen up. You are too broke. You are too broke to not be visible. So I'm here to say this today in this room. I'm going to rephrase her words, and I'm going to say to you today, right, that we as women, there are too many obstacles and challenges for us to not be visible. For those of you who actively want to make a change, you are going to have to get comfortable with being in front of social media, with being on LinkedIn, with posting, with speaking up and sharing with different people. You have to put yourself unapologetically at the fore. And I had to speak to myself and say, Nia-Cerise Bayonne, are you ready to be visible? Whether people like you or not, speak about you or not, slander you or not. Are you ready to advocate, stand for what you believe in, and do what you are called to do? I know that I'm called to speak up, and I'm also called to shake up the arenas that I'm called in. That's not always going to bring everyone celebrating me, but it will create visibility and attention. Not everybody liked the suffragettes, but guess what? We're voting today because of these women who decided to be visible, whether or not people liked them or they didn't. The next and last that I really want to emphasize today is that we have to lead with purpose and vision. It's one thing to actively want to see a change. It's another thing to lead with change. In a world that is filled with selfies and selfishness, leadership is more so about a click follower rather than being about you leading the way by serving in how you can and supporting people in the ways in which they need to be supported. Leadership is all about service. Leadership is all about answering people's needs. Leadership is all about being not only an innovator, but it is also about being somebody who takes initiative. Leadership with purpose and vision is somebody who leads with the willingness to take the first step when other people aren't taking it. And it also looks like an individual coming up with solutions and deciding that they will push forward and do them. Women pioneers are often deeply motivated, and they deeply desire to do and to innovate and have ideas for certain things. However, women pioneers oftentimes, due to the oppression, obstacles, and barriers, fail to say, I will take it upon myself to go and start. Let me let you in on something before I end. Krisztina came to Brazil, and can I tell you, we weren't even planning to do an event together. But when I saw she was in your nation, I said, something has got to be done over there. We've got to find a problem, and we've got to create a solution. As small or as big as our solution may be, we need something to contribute to helping the land of Brazil. I have never, ever, ever stepped foot inside of Brazil to do work in tech. But I just knew if I've got somebody on my team who's in the country, something's got to change in that land. We literally just began to push, look, innovate, seek. How can we be solution oriented? And right now, you've got a random woman from the UK sitting here, giving you a speech and keynote, talking to you about how we can innovate. This is how we start it, ladies. we have got to get hungry, and we've got to believe that somehow, some way, through our crazy leadership and innovation, it will all work out in the end. So I'm really grateful that I'm able to speak to you today. I believe I've gotten a little bit over time, but I'm really happy that I've been able to speak with you. I've been able to share my experience with you. I've been able to release a transformational keynote for you. And hopefully I've been here stirring you on so that you can actively, as I said, leave this place with everybody taking one another's numbers and not leaving without becoming friends. Thank you so much. And I really, really hope that you enjoyed what I've shared with you today. Thanks.
Incredible. Thank you so much. I think I'm just going to give a moment for the ladies to, if you want to reflect on anything that spoke to you, ask any questions. We can have like 2 minutes. Sorry, I don't know where I look. 2 minutes. Anybody would like to share? I can start. So what spoke to me really was the fact that obviously being a pioneer, being an innovator, sometimes looks like you're nagging. Because I face that a lot. I'm quite direct and very strong in what I want and how I want it. And sometimes people don't like it. But if I was a man, that would have been different, because it would be celebrated as someone who is a strong leader. But as a woman, the same qualities, the same words I say, or the same, what I do is perceived as nagging. And I had that a lot. So thank you so much for speaking up. Anybody else would like to share anything that, yeah, thank you.
Can you see me? Hi. Can you see me? Thank you for your words, strong and but kind. I went through a big process with my daughter. So everything all your words sound really good to me, because my daughter just passed through Technovation Girls. Do you know Technovation Girls? It's a program for girls from all over the world when they have to tackle real problems. Technovationgirls.org. And so they have to come up with a solution in innovating with an app or with artificial intelligence. My daughter now is 16. Yes. So she started with 14. She did it twice. Yeah. And so my daughter is deaf. She lost her hearing with 3 years old. That's why I'm here. So we went through a process, because she wears cochlear implants, and we were at the hotel and the fire alarm went off. So we were traveling, me, my husband, my son and her, and the alarm went off. So we were hurrying up to get out of the room. And when we looked back, she was there in the bed. So that's when I thought, oh my God, I want her to be independent. I want her to be a successful woman. I want her to be whatever she want to be. I don't want her to depend on anyone or whatever. So I said, I never thought about it. What is going to happen with her? She needs a man to get married. If she have a baby, she won't hear the baby. She will rely on her husband to, hey, the baby's crying, or she will never be able to live by herself. She want to live by herself. I don't want to get married. I want to live by myself. She will need to, hi, I'm your neighbor. If the building catch on fire, can you call me? Can you remember about me? So that's the first time I realized, oh my God, she can be independent. And that's what I dreamed for her. So then I heard about Technovation. So she went to Technovation. It was the first year, 300 girls from all over the world. And it was her and 3 more girls, deaf girls. So I said, I have an idea. And I told them my idea. I want something on their phone because they have their phones on the hand all the time. So I said, there must be something on the phone to warn them. There's an alarm. There's someone on your door. There's someone calling you. And so they went with this idea, and they made an app that tries to hear everything that the sounds that are around, and connected with a bracelet. So when the app listens to that sound, it vibrates on the bracelet. So they went to the first phase and the second phase, and so they were invited to California, and they won. Wow. Yeah, 3,000 girls, 3,000 from all over the world. So they won. And last year they went again with IoT. So they develop a lamp that blinks. So when you are in the shower, you can't hear. Yes. And you don't have your phone, and you don't have the bracelet because you're in the shower. So they made a lamp that blinks. So that's why I'm here, because I told them this idea. I said, it died. They went, they won, everything. It was really cool. But I still have this idea for my girl. I still need my girl to be independent. So I'm a physiotherapist. I know nothing about tech or business or anything or finance, but I'm here because I want to do it for her. That's what I told you about passion. I know nothing, but I'm here because of her. I want to do it because of her. And listen to those words. And Technovation say those words. Girls can do it. You're here to solve a problem. They use a sentence that is a wave of change. When girls are together, when women unite, it's a wave of change.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing this, and congratulations to your daughter. And I really hope that we can work together to make this happen. And as I don't know, Nia-Cerise, ma'am, would you like to say anything? Just say goodbye. Okay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to actually, just respond and say that, this is incredible. And in fact, what you just said is so needed. I think sometimes we get so intimidated and so afraid. Some of us, we hear business event and we hear different things, and maybe even hear people who are doing all of these amazing stuff. But ultimately, there are women in this room right now who have vision on the inside of them. They just have a deep knowing that they have something in them that they want and need to release to this earth. For the sake of their daughters, for the sake of women, for the sake of whatever burden that they have. And I just want you to understand that you're in the right place. You're in the right space. You may not have business cards. You may not have your own thriving organization with 500 employees. You may not have all of these things just yet, but you have the willingness. You have the intentionality, and you have the heart. And this is exactly what is needed. Then you get into these rooms, and this is how you begin to build bridges and see opportunities fly your way. So we are so proud of you. And I really just want to salute you. And I want to just tell you that you've got this, girl. You just keep soaring. You keep pushing. You are going to find people who are going to help, who are going to come on board. You share your vision. That's all you got. Share your vision. And people, if you believe in your vision, people will also want to help to support that vision. And that's for any girl in this room. That's for any woman in this room. The vision that you don't believe in is the vision that you will never, ever, ever convince anybody else to join in. So if you have a vision, believe in it with your whole heart and share it with anybody who would want to listen. Because guess what? The men do. They really do. They really, really, really do. They really do. I say that again. They really do.
They share their successes. Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's true.
Thank you so much. Anybody else would like to? I don't know if you have 2 more minutes.
Of course, yes, I do. Absolutely. If anyone wants to ask a question, if anyone wants to share anything, please feel comfortable and free to ask me. I just said earlier about sharing your vision, and I'm married, and I've really realized very quickly that men have a next level of confidence sometimes, even when they're not even necessarily qualified. And I actually did research and I found out that men are twice as likely to ask for a salary increase. And they're also twice as likely to apply for a job that they have half the qualifications for. Women tend to only apply for jobs that they fill the full spec. Men apply for jobs that they only fulfill the half of. Having now been married to my husband for a year, I've literally witnessed and seen how every accomplishment he blazes and speaks about it to any and everyone. I've literally seen how my husband will have not even started something and will literally be telling the whole world as if it's the biggest and best thing in the world. This actually encouraged me to start speaking up and me to actually start owning the things that I do. And so I just really want to release every woman in this room into ownership for what you're doing and ownership for what you want to do.
Wow.
Wow.
Powerful.
Powerful. Thank you so much. And just to close up this section, we're going to go on a little break to just talk to each other, because sometimes women, we might don't want to speak in the microphone, but we want to talk to each other. So thank you so much, Nia-Cerise, Bayonne, for joining us from the other side of the world. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your wisdom and your words of encouragement. I've been fired up. I know I might, expose myself outwardly, but inside me I'm fired up. You really spoke to my heart and to all the problems that we discussed earlier without you even being here. That's the universal connection women we share. It doesn't matter if we are in Brazil, if we are in Tunisia, if we are in the UK, if we are from Hungary, wherever we are, is the same thing everywhere. And as Nia-Cerise said, it is a uniqueness in us that we need to actually master how to bring it out, because there is a solution in every one of us that other people actually need. So thank you so much once again. Joining us online, incredible, Nia-Cerise, Bayonne. We see you later. I mean, I will.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Okay. I think we should just have a quick break.
Let's take a quick little coffee break. Feel free to get some snacks. And then I think the last few minutes will just be the workshop. We can run through maybe a couple of them.
We have an hour more. If you guys want to, discuss, feel free.
Or I don't know if we want to do the whole hour.
No, we will
it might be
skim
good
it.
to get a few ideas out, because I think in the spirit of problem solving solutions, we should discuss some
Agreed. So we're gonna still go with the workshop. Just please.
So just take a few minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes, and we'll get set up and come back.
Please don't go farther. Thank you.
No, this is great. I would love to. I mean, I would love to meet with them. I think this idea is it could be a studio.
Okay, let me tell you something. You're going to love it. So, let me.
Yeah, we want it. We'd love to, honestly.
My English is not so. No, it's quite bad. We have to that finish that. It's really bad that. It's touching up. This is not you can just no, this is what pioneering feels like. Okay, this is where when you actually put in action what you've heard, what you want to see in the world to change with your stories and your child's story.
You want to do it up against the script?
Oh yeah, we can do it.
Let me move mine.
So
And then she can sit there.
yeah, perfect. Do you want me to record her? I'm just gonna test the microphone. Yeah, don't be scared. What's your name again? Sure. Just gonna test the microphone.
So these are how we have to hear these stories. We have to hear these. Okay.
So, okay, one second. Can we talk to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand here then. Okay, one second. Hello, Shirley. How are you? Yes, you just shared a really powerful story with us during the keynote speech that your daughter had gone into some innovation. She's only 14, 15, 16 years when she was doing this innovation, and there is a purpose behind it. And I just want you to tell us that purpose, where it is coming from, what happened, that ignited this innovation power in your daughter, and how it's connected to you.
So I am a mother of two. I have a boy. He's 9. And my daughter is 16 now. When she was 3, she lost her hearing. And we went to a lot of doctors. I went to 6 doctors. And all of them told me, they all told me, you have to speak only one language with her. You have to choose only you have to speak 4 different languages with her. So you can't do that. You have to speak just one language, and she won't be able to listen to reason. So music is hard for her, and that's it. So I didn't settle for that. And she loves to dance. She did 7 years of jazz classes and jazz dance classes. She did great. And we put her on a bilingual school. So she's fluent in Portuguese, English, and in Hebrew, despite of what the doctor told us. And she went through surgery, over implants, right and left. One was 5 years old, the other one she was 12. And when she was 6 years old, she loved princesses and superheroes, and I was looking for a book that she could feel represented, and I couldn't find any book. As I'm a good physiotherapist, I said, I want to write a book for her. And I did it. I did a book. A girl, she's deaf, she's a princess, and she can heal and cure the world with her powers. When she started to listen and she recovered her hearing because of her cochlear implant. So that was the story I used to tell my daughter when everybody approached her. What's that on your ear? What's that on your ear? She used to get really uncomfortable with that. So I used to tell her, tell them that's your superpower, that you can hear people asking for help from Japan. So she used to love it. So that's why I wrote the book. The princess could hear people asking for help, calling for help from really far. And she goes and she can heal and cover the world. That's the book. So 2 years ago, I got a call from my mother, and she told me, "You don't know me. I went to the launch of your book, and we had 400 copies sold in that day. Today marks 6 years from the launch. So we went. She called me, and she said, "You don't know me. I went to the launch, and my daughter wants to participate in a program, the championship technology called Technovation Girls. It's for girls from all over the world to solve a problem. They have to solve a real problem, developing an app or with artificial intelligence. So she said, I want to do something for deaf people. My daughter is deaf, that's why I know this. So does your daughter want to be with my daughter? I said yes, without asking my daughter, because my daughter was passing through a lot. At school, she was left behind countless of times. Her classmates, friends, they used to say, "Oh, you can't hear, you can't read this book, so you can't be in my group." She was left behind countless of times. So I said, "Yes, I will. She will do it. I'm not interested." So they went, and they said, we want to develop something for deaf people, but we don't have idea." I said, "I have an idea," because we were traveling. The fire at the hotel alarm went off, and my daughter was in bed. We were rushing up to get out, and she was there in bed. So that's when I realized, and she always going to depend on someone, and she's independent, as I always dreamed for her. She always has to rely on someone. How is going to be her life? I don't want this for her. So I said, I have an idea. And I told them the story about the hotel. And they have their phones on their hands. There must be something on their phones or something with them to warn them that something can be harmed. Something can take their lives away. So they went, 3,000 girls from all over the world, and they won. They won. Now she's 15. She's in the last year of high school, and she want to go to biology or medicine, or she still doesn't know, but definitely not coding. But the thing is, with this program, she realized she can solve, she can do anything. That's what she said. Because on the program, you have to make a speech for investors, a 3-minute speech in English. And of the group, there were 4 girls. She was the only one who speaks English. So she did the speech by herself for Shopee, Kapuvari, AMD, UNICEF. She did it in English, and the doctor used to say, "You can't speak English." So that's why I'm here now, because I'm trying to make this idea happen. And that's the story.
So the device
holding my
itself,
holding my
the device that you developed and the group and the group developed is a device that recognizes voices and vibrates as a fan and that risks to that alarm goes on so they can notice it because they can feel it and they can feel it on their hand. And you mentioned something about the light as well.
Yeah,
can you say that?
yeah, that was my idea, because I told her, what about, because deaf people, they struggle even when they are hearing. It's not easy. My daughter with cochlear implants, her life is not easy. So there are some parts of the day when you don't hear, even if you have cochlear implants, you can't hear anything. When you go to sleep, when you take a shower, when you want to break from that's when something can happen and you don't have anyone. So I told her, keep doing it, keep doing it. Maybe it's something from home, for home. Maybe IoT, maybe a lamp shines, blinks red, yellow, green. You can set it on your phone. Oh, if it's red, it's an alarm. If it's yellow, someone knocking at the door, because that's the real struggle. When she's in the washroom, when she's in the shower, we knock, 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 and so they did it, and they won again, twice, and I'm trying to.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing today's session.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not.
No, that's, no,
it
that's
was perfect. Oh my
Okay.
goodness, it is fantastic, and these are the types of stories like and the types of technologies that we.
And these are the founders that are overlooked.
Yeah, exactly.
Her daughter is an exact audience for our fund. They are raising funds now, but these are the funders that people don't look at because they don't see innovation there happening. So yeah, it's so good to hear you know. Yes. Yeah, and you can do that. You can do that. Yeah. I don't know much about help there. Go there. You need a co-founder. You need a co-founder. Yeah. Okay. And sorry.
Yes, reductions.
No, she's so smart. Yeah, because you have she likes to dance. Open the back of your head. June, New York. Wow. Okay, I will send. Yes, perfect. I don't have it, because you have our when when they send me the yes documentary, I'm so excited. You're going to see my daughter. I think incredible. And I think I don't know how things happen because it's
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time, everyone. It's amazing to hear your stories. And I know I didn't talk to everyone, but I know some of you already, you are pioneering in your spheres, in your spaces. And I'm really honestly just honored to be in the room with you all. So what we're gonna do next is we focus our attention on the solution. And as we heard in the keynote speech, the solution is us. We bring the solution. Our uniqueness brings the solution. And so what we're gonna do the presentation. And I already give you, because we started already. So what's gonna happen is now the questions. So we discussed the problem. Okay, we had the problem. We understood. So if you can just put it large, just the don't put me on the screen, just the
is nice and have the beach in the end. I could see that being like 2 or 3 afternoon material because it's the things are so complex.
Yes.
For us
This was
to
a tease.
discuss.
We are teasing you now.
Yes, I can feel like a tease that could have a big, deep dive into each one of the topics. But this is my
Very good point.
my 5th sense about that.
Excellent.
Anybody else?
Gentlemen,
Sure. How was it?
and then we will ask the other side of the room.
My name is Zaev, and I'm quite happy to be the only boy among the girls. And I'm also a little bit sorry that there wasn't other guys wanting to take part in this moment. And I want to say that the world is full of challenges, and we cannot give up of half of the humankind, the women, taking part in solving those challenges. So it's very important that all the mankind and womankind, everyone, is together looking for the solutions we need to make a better world. So it's very important that the women are included and can take their part in their own, how to say, in their own characteristics.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because, as you said, Krisztina, men and women are different, and this is natural and clear. And we must look for the best in each of us, each one of us, not only men and women, but every different person, because there is no person is just like another one.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else on the other side of the room would like to share?
We'd love to hear.
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
I also really liked how you started with a motivational pitch and then a workshop. I conduct some workshops like this one, and usually we stay for hours. So I understand that with the amount of time you have, it's not like enough, but we had the idea. And one thing that I had, like, I was doubting is that your idea of coming here is somehow getting in contact with entrepreneurs and also showing that somehow you are now a player in the VC community in Brazil. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, I got it right then. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's true. That's true. Thank you so much.
Anybody
Okay.
else? Okay.
Oh.
Good. Oh no,
Oh,
no,
no,
I just
no.
want.
Yeah. If anybody wants to say something. No?
Oh,
No, no.
I
Okay,
saw a hand.
okay, ladies and
No, no,
gentlemen, thank you so much. What I'm just gonna do quickly is if you can go back, Rosin, to my screen. Yeah. But before we go there, would you mind just please, if you liked what we showed you, you can just follow us on Instagram. You can follow us. Our cards are actually on the seat. So the
they're
QR
here.
code on the cards goes to our LinkedIn's.